Hey everyone. So today I'm going to talk about a very interesting topic, something that we as product managers have to do a lot. And it's around prioritization, right? Especially of features. So one of the ways that I prioritize features is using a rubric, and this methodology is very useful if you have a very long list of features to prioritize, where it is difficult to kind of hold all of them in your mind and kind of do a mental maths. This comes before this, or you scroll down the screen and you remember that in the previous screen, those were the features that I wanted to prioritize more. When this list becomes very big, it becomes very difficult to do all that. And also, if we don't have a very consistent and systematic method of doing that, um, what it does lead to is that the way you were doing it today may not be the exact way you may be doing it after 2 weeks, 2 months, or maybe even further than that. And if someone new joins the team and you have to explain the methodology to someone, the thought process to someone, it becomes difficult. And if you're moving out of that role and someone else is stepping in, it becomes very difficult for them to understand how the prioritization was done. They may understand the basic reasoning behind it, but they might miss certain nuances that you may have thought of. So in this, all these scenarios, using a very consistent, repeatable, and implemented method to do the prioritization, something which is well documented in form of some rules, or maybe even in form of certain formulas in Google Sheet. It can all help a lot. And this is where rubrics-based methods become very useful. So that's what I wanted to talk to you today. So let me start by sharing my screen. So as usual, I will rely on a blog post, and this is quite a recent one, rubrics-based feature prioritization. So before we get into how to use it and how exactly to do this, I'm making some assumptions about the level of preparedness that you have. So first thing that I'm assuming is that you already have these list of features, and all of these features are at the same level of granularity. And that becomes very important, because if one feature is a little more abstracted, little more at high level, and another few set of features are at much more detail, much more narrower in their capability, then it becomes kind of difficult to compare them with each other. So I would recommend that you have them at the same level of granularity. If you are ready with these two, the first thing that we will do is build a rubric, right? So before we start building on rubric, I want to call out the concept of feature categories, right? So if you look at it, it's a very simple way of categorizing the features that your product has based on some trends in product development. For the sake of explaining this method and giving you a sample, I have picked up certain categories which I feel are very common and cover the need of most of the products. But your product may be different, it needs may be different. You may want to add some more categories, one or two, which are specific to your product. That is okay, you can do that. And the one of these which are not relevant to your product, we can help you handle them without having to remove them from this list. So if I go through this list, the first one is features that contribute towards the market differentiation of this product. So this marketing differentiation, think of it this way: features that may show up in your marketing material, in your ads, a feature that kind of set you apart in the market from your competition, that give users a feel that picking up this product um, is because they have seen something which is very unique in it, something it's doing different. The other one is pricing differentiation. So these are the features that help you either make your product premium. So a user would understand, oh, because of this feature, the price of this product is little higher, and I am okay with that. I don't mind paying that extra money for this extra feature, those kind of features. And sometimes the features are the ones that help make your product cheaper in some way. So someone would say that, oh, I have all these 4 options and this option is the cheapest and it has everything that the product that I need has, so I'll pick this one. So those kind of features that help differentiate at the level of marketing and pricing are very important. And there's a subtle difference between the two. One of my favorite examples is our toothpaste has salt in it. It stands out. It's a market differentiator. The other is for example, our toothpaste is 100% biodegradable. And if you're charging little extra for that specific packaging, someone who feels very passionate about conservation would say that, I don't mind paying little extra for this kind of packaging. So then that scenario, for that audience, this has become a price differentiator. So some features would help your product differentiate in markets. Some features would help your product differentiate in pricing. The other set of features might help in increasing the adoption. So these are the features that make adopting your product be the least resistance path. It makes it easy for a user to recommend it to another user. It becomes very easy for this user to, let's say, invite another user. So all these features that help in growing the adoption of this product may fall into this category. Cost reduction, right? So the cost of building this product, that becomes very important, right? So the cost of building this product, if a certain feature is introduced that reduces the cost, those kind of features belong to this category. A very simple example could be that you introduce certain features that reduce the need of the product on the infrastructure, like the cloud and all those things. And in those scenarios, you can say that these set of features help bring down the cost. The other is product org checkboxing. So this is a very peculiar one, right? So for example, if you look at, if you're using Google, if you look at Google Sheet, if you look at Google Slides, if you look at Google Documents, they kind of have a similar pattern, right? Maybe I'll show you. They have a logo here. They have sign in, sign out, or your login information here. They have certain menu structure. They allow the name to be changed in the title. And across the suite, all of these products have these features which are there because they belong to this suite, or because it's Google. That's how every product in Google provides sign in. So these kind of features that go into your product, not because they are a market differentiator, they are something a user has asked for, or there's something that bringing down the cost. They are there because these are the features that make this product feel like being part of a suite or by an organization. Those kind of features kind of fall into this category. You may notice that this may not be very true for startups or early age products, but in enterprises, a lot of products do fall into this category, right? The other one is market checkboxing. This is the most, interesting and awkward one to talk about as a product manager. Many times what happens is we and this happens a lot in let's say enterprise scenario. If your buyer is an enterprise, so you build your product and you're now going and responding to a request for from the purchase department, for example. Hey, we are looking for this kind of solution, this kind of product, and you seem to have a product. Can you send us your pricing and all the features you have? In such scenarios, typically, the way I articulate is that someone is kind of looking at an Excel sheet or a Google sheet, and they're like, this feature, this feature, this feature, this product has this feature, this product has this feature, this product does not have that feature. And many times, a lot of these features need to be there so that you don't stand out as, oh, they don't have that feature. You may implement that feature in the most minimal way, or you may feel that feature is not bringing any differentiation to your product. They're very non-differentiating features, but they have to be there because you need to have those minimal have those features to cross those gates, check gates, or show up high on some list. That's where most of these features go. And finally, hygiene. These are the features which are in some way cost of doing business. For example, if you're building a product in which a user can sign in, do things, so sign up, sign in, manage your profile, all of these become very hygiene features. They have to be there. They don't differentiate you a lot. They don't bring a lot of value. Many times they just a minor hiccup in the adoption of the product, but they have to be there. So this is a very typical list of categories. As I said before, your product may have something which are a little unique and different. Feel free to bring that in. The next step is assigning importance to these categories, right? Now that you have listed out all the categories which are relevant, besides these, you might have added something. You need to figure out that which of these is more important to you, your product at this time. It will change a lot, right? But at this moment, for this market event, for this kind of release that we want to make happen in 6 months, 9 months, what is more important? And the way to kind of have an answer to that is make sure that you understand answers. You're clear about these answers, right? So you should know that, do you know the goal of your product? Is market differentiation one of these goals? That should their product stand out in the market? It should stand out with some features that can be called out in ads and marketing campaign. Is premium pricing or cheaper than competition a goal? Are you going into the market with a position that we are little more premium than our competition, pick us? Then in that scenario, you need to be thinking of features that justify that premiumness. Maybe you're going into the market and saying that we are cheaper than the competition. Then you need to think how to bring down the cost. Is viral spread or fast adoption such a goal? Do you know the goal of the organization? What is the organization trying to achieve with this product? Do you know the goal of your customers? Do you know the goal of your users? And there's a subtle difference between customers and users. I'm sure most of you would understand, but to reiterate, those who pay for your product are your customers. Those who use your products are your users. And many times these are two separate parties. If in consumer world, most of the time it's the same party. The person who is paying is the person who is using. But for enterprise folks, these could be totally different set of departments. The purchase department may be the customers, they're buying it. So they may look at your product in a different way. They may do those kind of check boxing, market check boxing. Do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? But the people who are going to use, maybe they will look at different things in your product. How useful is it? They may recommend product A versus product over product B to the customers. But the customers may realize that product B is 5 times more expensive and they cannot afford it. So they may go for product A as a compromise. So it's very important to understand these two entities, especially if you're selling to enterprise, and understand each of their goals. So you can have features that address these two, and you come out shining in analysis of both these two parties. So simple methodology, assign a score to these 1 to 5. So I've taken some examples. Say it's a startup which is focused on market penetration, right? Maybe market differentiation is their primary goal. They don't want to spend too much of time because on pricing differentiation, they probably are going to be free, or they may just be selling at the same price as competition. So they don't, pricing is not the place where they're playing, but they're looking for those features that make them stand out in the market. Product adoption, hence, is very important for them. They're being fund rolled by VC, so maybe cost reduction is not a goal now, maybe later on. As of now, the adoption and differentiation is the primary goal. They're a new startup, they don't have any standards, so they don't have a suite, or they don't want their products reflect the organizational aspect that much. So maybe they're looking at consumers, they're not looking at enterprises, so they're not really bothered about any market check boxing. They have a bunch of hygiene. So this is what their rubric will look like, as compared to an enterprise software company where they'll say that price and market differentiation, in the space we are, 90% of the features are same. There are these 10% of feature here and there, but they don't really make a lot of difference because pricing is more important, right? Affordability of this tool for the enterprise customers that we have is more important. And we want them to adopt us. And in order, because pricing is so undifferentiated in this market compared to what it is probably in other markets, and we have to the pricing is so important in this market compared to others. We may have to reduce prices a lot so we become attractive for the customers, the purchase department. In order to retain some margin, we need to bring down the cost drastically. So features that reduce the cost of building the products, those kind of features will maybe be very high. So like this, you create this rubric. So till now, what we have done is we have discussed the categories which are relevant, and based on the goals, various goals of the key stakeholders, we are assigning some weightage or importance to each of these categories. After that, within a category, you want to probably know that feature A within the category of, let's say, market differentiation, probably a feature A is more important than feature B. And in order to do that, you can have another weightage being assigned in terms of the importance of a feature. This is different than important weightage given to importance of a category. This is within that category weightage given to a specific feature. Let me give you an example, right? Feature A. So this example is for an enterprise software company. So this is the rubric. Feature A brings price differentiation, which is at score 4, and is deemed high, score 3. So maybe the method for rubric, simple, so as to explain and get going, we just multiply the 2, the score is 12. Feature B brings price differentiation, score 4. However, this feature is maybe medium valuable as compared to feature A, so its overall score drops. Then there's a feature C, which is part of which helps in product adoption, which is a much higher score. But it's again deemed like medium value giving in the category of product adoption, and it has a score of 10. So if you look at it, feature A, product differentiation high, feature B, product differentiation medium, feature C, product adoption medium, we arrive at this score, and it gives an idea, hey, probably we should be implementing these features in the order of A, C, and B. Now, I want to call out a few things here, right? This is a methodology, not necessarily the methodology. This methodology just highlights how to create a rubric and how to use a rubric. You're free to create your own rubric. You're free to create your own categories. You're free to give them your own weightage at your own scale. You're free to choose how much is critical, what is the score given to a critical, to high, medium, low. But once you have this model in this sheet, you go ahead and start playing around with these numbers. You go start playing around these numbers, see how the prioritization changes, have discussion with other folks in the team. This is how I have assigned the score. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Play around a lot till you feel that what you have got makes sense. And then you can start prioritizing them. The advantage is that now these weightages are acting as heuristics in this prioritization. So you have 100, 200, 1000 features over a period of time, and you have left the role, someone has joined the role, they're doing the same method. There is a common baseline against everything which is being prioritized. They're all being prioritized against the same heuristics. And tomorrow, let's say the situation changes. For some reason, product adoption is no longer that an important a goal, but maybe market checkboxing has become a very big role. You can swap the score. As soon as you swap the scores, this order will change. And you go and look at the set of features now again in a totally different order, and you'll get a new list of prioritized feature. And that's what makes this tool very powerful. In order to help you kickstart and get accelerated, I have created this Google Sheet as usual. It will be view only for you. You can go to, if you're logged in, you can go to File, make a copy local in your system, look at these categories, decide their score, add a few if you want to. I would recommend not to make it too long, because then it becomes very confusing. Add some scores, start putting in features at the same level of complexity, granularity, assign features to them and the importance to them. I think because this is in a view mode, I have a feeling that in the view mode, this is actually a drop down. And the drop down kind of helps you out by picking one of these. The drop down here helps you picking in one of these. There's a very long formula, which is basically doing the same math that I had described here. So hopefully this method is useful for you. And I have found it very useful to create a very transparent and systematic way of doing prioritization. Many times I have gone ahead and overridden because this method does not always take care of dependencies, and there are a lot of other human heuristics. Some feature need to come before because of some organizational politics, a lot of reasons, but this becomes a very good baseline on which you can make delta changes and arrive at a prioritized list. And when you're discussing it with the other stakeholders in your organization, you're talking to the engineering manager, the CEOs, maybe a new vendor who has joined and who's helping you implement. When you're talking to them, you have a very consistent, uniform piece which everyone is looking at and understanding the logic of it. So that way it becomes a very powerful tool. So thank you so much for listening. And do if you like all these videos, do subscribe, click like. I strangely that's the world of YouTube. That's how YouTube algorithm uh, is aware of my presence. The more likes, the more it realizes that this content is available and promotes it. Uh, and if you're based in India, if this is useful, think of it like you're paying for a book. You can use Instamojo, or globally you can use PayPal to support. So looking forward to your feedback, comments, and some tricks that you have done which are a little different than this, are similar than this. And if you have used it, what did your rubric finally look like? So with that, I'll stop sharing. And thank you so much. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.